welcome to another video on Giles Life of Cars. And this time I thought I'd go run through some of my cars I've used to own, some of my past cars that I don't own anymore. So it's just going to be some pictures. Some of the early cars I've owned, I've only got a limited number of pictures, but I'll put up as many as I can. I'll show you some physical pictures I've got, like copies of pictures, and I'll try and put some up on screen either whilst I'm talking or at the end of the video, depending how I can edit it. So yeah, it's just gonna be some pictures of me just talking about them, so hope you enjoy. Yeah. Right, so we'll start off with my first car that I owned, which was a 2007 Ford car Mark 1 on a 56 plate in Mundus Silver. It was a Ford car Z-Tech, from what I can remember. So yeah, this was the first car that I owned since when I passed my driving test back in 2013. I passed it in August of that year, and I think I literally bought this car like a couple of weeks later at the end of August 2013. So yeah, this was the very first car I owned, and yeah, it was a good little go-kart. Well, not a go-kart, it was a really fun car to drive, much like the Mark 1 Focus, where they were this one came out before the Mark 1 Focus, but they were both developed roughly at the same time under the leadership of Richard Parry-Jones, and I know he had a bit of a development, say, on the Mark 1 Ford car, or KA, or however some people prefer to say it. But yeah, this is like, yeah, I really enjoyed this car when I owned it. I didn't own it that long. I owned it for about 16 months, like from August 2013 to December 2014. I got rid of it mainly because the light and the speedo and rev counter cluster that were kept on going off at night, and it was a rather bit awkward. And I did take it down to a garage to price it up for a repair, and they gave me like 400 quid to repair it. And at the time, the car was only really worth like 400 quid. So I just thought, it's time to move on to another car. I mean, I will put up some pictures, the couple of other pictures I have of this car, either on screen now or at the end of the video, depending if I can edit them in. But I've only got like 2 or 3 pictures of this, including this one from the front end. The other pictures, I believe, is of the interior, the dashboard, and from the rear as well. So, but yeah, I've sadly not got many pictures of this car, but I really enjoyed owning it when I had it. It was a really great car to drive, and it had the 1.3 litre Rocam engine, that with about 70 horsepower, which in this kind of car, it felt sprightly, even though the numbers suggest otherwise, that it's not that fast, but it certainly didn't feel like it. And as the first car I owned, it gave me a bit of freedom, like from public transport, and just get out of the road and be able to travel as and when you want to. So it was definitely a great car I owned, and in the long run I do miss it, and I'm sad I got rid of it, but all things come to an end, but in the end I did really enjoy this car in the short time I owned it. So yeah, that's the Mark 1 Ford car in Mundus Silver. That was my first car. So move on to the next one. Right, so this next one, this was my second car. It was replaced my Ford car. So this was a 2009 Fiat Panda 1.1 Active Eco. And yeah, and again, this was a really nice little car. It was a really nice car to drive in its own way, even if it wasn't quite as good handling as the Ford car. But it was certainly a really practical car, and I got up to 5 doors this time with this car, and it was a really spacious car. It's actually it was quite tall. Focus camera. Yeah, it's really quite tall, and so it had really good headroom, and it was actually quite spacious inside for such a small car, and it's really practical. Yeah, and I did enjoy driving this and owning this when I had it. So I got this like December 2014. I had it nearly 3 years and got rid of it. I think it was sometime September 2017. So just under 3 years, or a few months short of 3 years. So yeah, but it had the 1.1 engine. It had about 60 odd horsepower. That's just off the top of my head. I might be wrong on that. I can't remember the name of the colour on this car. It's at the time I didn't really like look into like colour specifications or anything like that, or like get a bit of knowledge on cars at the time, even though I was still into them. But now I'm more into like the specs and what the colours are called than what I used to be. Yeah, and one thing with this car as well, with the Fiat Panda, it really light steering, but it also had like a city steering button, which made the steering even more ridiculously light. You could literally pound the steering up and down, and it would just like be like touch it with one finger and it would move. It was just a really light steering. So, but yeah, well, a good practical little runabout that. And only reason I really got rid of it is towards the end it was starting to have some like engine issues, and like it were cutting out on way to work, and it also wouldn't start when I was trying to come home from work once, and it were in the garage quite a few times in the last few months when I've owned it. So that's when I decided to get rid and move on. And sad really, if it weren't for those issues, I would have kept the car for much longer. So, but other than that, it were a good practical little car. I mean, you see, I would have liked to have a go in the sporty version of this car, the Fiat Panda 108 horsepower. Yeah, they're apparently like really good little pocket rockets, much like the Ford sport car for the Mark 1. Yeah, the Hyundai i20N as well, I should say. So, yeah, I'll also put some more pictures that I have on this up on screen either now or at the end of the video, but again, a bit more limited on the pictures what I have on this. So I'll have to see if I do have any more. But yeah, that's my second car I own, the Fiat Panda. Yeah, so we'll move on to the next one. Right, so this is car number 3, the third car I ever bought and owned. So it's the 2014 Ford Fiesta Mark 7 in the UK, but it's Mark 6 elsewhere. This wasn't the EcoBoost engine, it was the 1.25 like Sigma engine. So it's basically a similar engine to what I've got in my Focus, except it's the 1.25 version with 80 horsepower. Yep, and again, this one's in Moondust Silver. Yeah, weirdly, all the cars I've had have either been blue or silver. That's one weird thing I've obviously noticed over the years. So, yeah, this was basically, it was a bigger car than my Panda. It was like a step up to the next class, up the super mini class. Like, whereas me car and Panda were in like the small city car class. But yeah, I bought this in 2017, and as it stands at time of recording, this was the longest car I've owned for like 7 years. So I owned it from September 2017 to September 2024. So it was just over a year ago at time of recording here. So again, Moondust Silver, the 1.25 engine, Zetec. This had the air conditioning. It's still CD player, electric front windows, some really nice alloy wheels. Although the Fiesta I bought, it was a I forgot what, Cat C car, so it had been in an accident and repaired. So it at the back, it definitely had a bit of a bodged repair at the back. The boot were a bit the gaps were a bit uneven, so this isn't the best example of a Mark 7 Fiesta. There would definitely have been better ones out there. And some of the paintwork, I tried to bodywork spray myself, and some it just came out looking a bit not very good. So bodywork wise, it wasn't the best, I should say, but mechanically it was a really good car to drive. And again, it's similar to a Mark 1 Focus, the way it drives. It's like a good little car to drive, like through the bends and corners. So it's good little handling car. You could tell there was some of the Mark 1 Focus DNA in this car. Yeah, there was definitely some influence there, and obviously it has the Aston Martin style grille. And yeah, again, this was just my main daily running car until last year. That drove me to and from work. Been traveling. It's also been traveling up various places across the country. Also lent it to my mate Josh of the Moaning Yorkshireman at one time when he needed to borrow it for going to a touring car meeting. So that were down in Thruxton, so it's been down there. But yeah, I really did enjoy this car when I owned it for the 7 years. I got rid of it last year, I think, because it was starting to have some issues like the engine oil leak at the back and also like just general condition of the car. Just thought I can do better than this, and the obviously bodywork and the being a Cat C car, and there were a bit with it being Cat C car, there were also a bit of rattling from the boots. Obviously there was some repair work that weren't quite right, I should say. So, and again, I'll put some pictures up on screen either now or at the end of the video of this car, just to show more pictures of it. So yeah, that's basically car number 3, and yeah, I got rid of it last year. So yeah, and they were replaced by my Hyundai, the one I've currently got now. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. Right, and next one, this was like my Halo car that I owned. It was my classic car, one of my main classic car until recently. It's a Fiat Coupe 20 valve turbo here from 1998 in Portofino blue, and when it looks really stunning in this color, to be honest. When I had it, it was a really fantastic Italian sports car, like a kind of like a baby Ferrari, and just could tell that just the way it was designed. It's just so different and interesting, and just like the long low bonnet, the headlamps, the double bubble headlamps, the front grille, the wheels as well. I like the colour of the grey wheels that were done in, the slashers down the side wing that go into the door. There's also, you can't see it on this picture, but there's slashers on back wheels, and the back of the cars is just as good. Like it looks like a Ferrari 456 to me, but others would disagree. But to me, it just looks like a mini Ferrari, especially from the back. But yeah, this was it's basically the fastest car I've ever owned. It's especially the 2-litre turbo. It, like, once the turbo kicked in, it just like took off like a rocket. It was a really well, it was, in terms of performance, that engine performance, it were really enjoyable to drive, even if less so in the corners, especially compared with my Mark 1 Focus. The Focus is a better handling car to drive down a twisty road. This one you had to be a bit more careful on round the bends, to say the least. So yeah, I know my parents nicknamed this tank as well because of the engine sound, the 5-cylinder turbo. It made quite a big noise. It was quite loud. So when I were coming home, they definitely heard me coming home. So that's why they gave it the nickname Tank. But yeah, it was it was my first modern classic car that I owned. Like, I bought this back in June 2019. It was my second car, I should say. What sat alongside me Fiesta as my second car. So just me car to enjoy on weekends and at car shows. So this was the car that started the having the second car and going to meets and car shows and everything. Yeah, so this is like what got me into it, or like the looking after them and like having a modern classic in my lineup. So yep, and again, the interior had leather seats as well, and the interior, the dashboard as well, is also beautiful. Again, I'll put up pictures of the car if I can, like just now or at the end of the video if I can't. So yeah, I've got more pictures of this car than I have of my earlier Panda and Ka, so there'll definitely be more of this to see. And yeah, I owned it from June 2019 until July last year, July 2024 again. So yeah, I had this about 5 years. So 2024 was a bit of a year of change for my cars. So at one point, I know at one point I had 3 cars in my lineup. So as I bought my Focus in November 2022, so from like November 22 to July 24, I owned 3 cars. Yeah, which were a bit financially challenging, to put it that way, I should say. I've cut it down to 2 now, so it's a bit more manageable. Yeah, I got rid of it in July 2024 as the car had just gone in for its MOT and it failed its MOT, and the parts the garage said it needed, they were struggling to find, and they were basically, some of the parts were a bit like made of unobtainium, and it was just going to cost me like loads to try and get it past the MOT, and at the time I didn't have the funds, so I thought this was a sign that it was time to move on and just literally focus, pardon the pun, on my Mark 1 Focus as me classic. So just have one car for the modern classic and enjoyment, and just one for the main runabout to work and commuting and everything. So it was a sad day when I had to get rid of my coupe, and I do miss it in a way, but I suppose it's just one of those things that it was just a sign that it was time to move on, and just obviously my Focus is now taking the main priority in the modern classic world. So yeah, I know this has moved on, and yeah, I just hope that whoever owns it now will enjoy it and everything. So yeah, so that got rid of that last year. Yep, and as I've covered before, these are my 2 current cars that I own. So I've had 6 cars in total. My Mark 1 Focus that I've been through in videos before, but I just thought I'd show you just another picture here. Yeah, so that's just me, well, my modern classic that I'm just looking after and enjoying, and going to car shows and meets and everything, and just enjoying in general on weekends. So yeah, that's just my Focus. Yeah, as you've seen in videos before. And finally, just my main daily again, what these last 2 are the ones I currently own, and this is just my Hyundai i20, just a picture of it, and again you've seen in videos that would have come out. So yeah, Champion Blue. Yeah, and again just looks a really nice little car. Yeah, and it is a really nice little car to commute around into work and shopping and back. So yeah. Yeah, so that's that. So that's all the cars I've owned. Right, so I hope you enjoyed the video looking at my cars that I previously owned, and just a general me talking through them, like how I owned them and how I found owning them. So yeah, and just why I got sold them on and moved on. So yeah, if I will, as I said, I will put more pictures that I have of my cars that I own. If I can during the video, I will. If not, they'll be at the end of this video here. So I will end my talking here, so you don't have to look at this ugly mug again. So hope you have a night. Everyone stay safe. Treat everyone as you'd like to be treated, and take care.